abam.info presents E.N.D.A.Y.S by Isserow. Read by the author. 0. Imagine an infinite expanse, onyx black, dense yet formless, going on and on as far as the eye can't see. It has texture, yet no physical matter. There is life beyond it, yet it cannot sustain life itself. Those who are fortunate enough to live in a reality that has grown to transcend the barriers between dimensions call it the meta, the space beyond space. Those who traverse from one world to another are also terrible at naming things. It is the connective tissue that binds matter together, the barrier that separates it, and with the right science, allows for travel between realms. Of course, people can't be trusted to cross the space between realities and not fuck things up magnificently, which is why the Jump Division exists, an elite force of agents working to preserve the stability of the grid, their jurisdiction extending to billions upon billions of populated dimensions. Each of those agents is an expert in covert operations, able to blend into their surroundings and the subtle or not so subtle differences between each reality. They are the best the grid has to offer, working to keep an almost infinite number of people safe. At least that's the ideal scenario. Some agents are just complete fucking arseholes. "You have a bad attitude, Agent Hayes," Judge Phillips barked, sitting high in the tribunal hall. The hall was a monolith to all the Jump Division stood for, a cylinder hundreds of feet tall, built from an intelligent high-entropy alloy, with a gleaming electroplated chromium finish. The walls were engraved with the names of the finest men and women who had served the division. Phillips' name was there, as were those of all the other judges. Marcus Hayes's name was once there too, albeit written in permanent marker, which he had scrawled himself. The wall was, unfortunately, smarter than he was, and ate away at his signature over the course of his previous hearing. The chamber was silent as the depths of space when no word was spoken. And when words were spoken, its angles had been perfectly formed for the transmission of speech sounds between the defendants on the ground level and the judges aloft in the eaves. A utilitarian cold light came from the highest echelons of the cylinder, shining across the walls, bouncing off the floor, that was tiled in an array of interconnecting glass hexagons that reflected a fractal kaleidoscope of light across one another. Flanked by 3 judges on either side, each in a grand chair with screens jutting out from the armrests, Phillips was their spokesperson, the eldest, the longest serving, the most short-tempered. In his youth he had been an agent for the history books, were there books written of such secret a history. He would flit between realities, going above and beyond to stop catastrophe, always remaining within the shadows. He was a hero, and yet now at the age of 78, having seen all that action, weighed heavy on his brow. Battle-scarred, figuratively rather than literally, his time in the field had etched his long gray face with lines, filled heavy bags under his eyes, and thinned his hair to the point that its very existence was but a rumor for the majority of his scalp. He looked down at the upstart with disdain. Hayes, the 40-something muscle-bound star of his own private action movie, 6'5" of body mods and nanotech inflated biceps, a gun-toting American explosion walking away from imbecile. Hayes was everything Phillips detested about the generation that followed his own, a smear on Jump Division's otherwise exemplary record. Of course, there had been agents in times past that were pricks, but they had never been constantly brought up in front of the Judicial Assembly as often as Hayes. "All right, I have a bad attitude," Hayes said, the words grating against his throat, each syllable a footstep along a gravel path from voice box to lips. He rolled his eyes so theatrically that the rotation
Sample complete. Ready to continue?